This math is similar to previous math. Previous day, whatever we have done, it's almost similar, but something is new, some concept are new. Okay, so let's start. First of all, you see Siemens company manufactured and sells a specialized cordless telephone. So this is a product that is cordless telephone, and the selling price is given. That is 12 lakh taka. Selling price 12 lakh taka given, and that is per unit price is 60. Okay, per unit price is 60, and there is total 20,000 units. Okay, so per unit is 60 and variable expense per unit is 45. So we find that here the contribution margin is 15 and total contribution margin is 3 lakh and fixed cost is 2 lakh 40. So they have a net operating income of 60,000. So this is a net, this is the income statement. It is already given on your question. Now we'll go to the requirement. Okay, so first one is compute the company's CM ratio and variable expense ratio. So one by one we'll deal, one by one we'll solve it. Okay, so let's start. First requirement is compute the company's CM ratio. Okay, so let's solve it. Requirement 1. Requirement 1, and that is company CM ratio. So we know the CM ratio formula is contribution margin divided by sales. Contribution margin divided by sales, then we'll multiply it by 100, then we'll get the CM ratio. So let's write the CM ratio. CM ratio equal to CM ratio equal to, or we call it as a contribution margin ratio. Contribution margin ratio equal to contribution margin divided by sales. Okay. So here we already got, it is already given on your question. Contribution margin is 15. Okay. Per unit basis, it is given as a 15. Okay. So write the formula first. That is contribution margin divided by sales. Okay, so that's our formula. We'll multiply it by 100. Then we'll get the contribution margin ratio. Is it clear? Formula clear সবাই? আগের ম্যাথও আমরা এইরকম একটা রিকোয়ারমেন্ট আমাদের ছিল, right? Is it clear? Formula?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, now let's write from the question what is the contribution margin here. Okay, so if you see the question, here our sales is 60 and variable expense is 45. So 60 minus 45, that means our contribution margin is 15. So 15 is our sales and 15 is our contribution margin and 60 is our sales value. So write according to the question, 15 divided by 60 multiplied by 100. Okay, then we'll get how much? কত percent আসে দেখেন তো? How much it is?
25%.
25%. 25%. Okay, and now we'll go back to the question again. Another requirement in the first requirement is the variable expense ratio. So last math on the last day, we didn't done any variable expense ratio. It is just like CM ratio. Instead of contribution margin, you write the variable expense. So in the variable expense ratio, the formula will be variable expense divided by sales. Variable expense divided by sales, and you will multiply it by 100. So we'll write variable expense ratio is variable expense divided by sales, and we'll multiply it by 100. So here you see, according to the question, what is our variable expense here? It is given on your question. So let's check the question. Here variable expense is 45. So write here 45. And sale value is 60. So write here 60. So 45 divided by 60 multiplied by 100. That will be our
75%.
variable expense ratio, and it is 75% already. Okay, hopefully it is clear. This is our first requirement. First requirement is done. Clear, all of you?
Yes, sir.
I'll go to the requirement number 2. So what is requirement number 2 here? See, compute the company's break-even point in both unit and sales dollar. Okay, so we have to calculate the break-even point. So you already know break-even point means is the point where we do not have any profit and we do not
Profit
have
and
any
loss
loss.
একই থাকে।
Profit ও নাই, loss ও নাই, অর্থাৎ এমন একটা পজিশন যেখানে কোম্পানি লাভ লস কোনোটাই নাই, সেটা হচ্ছে আমাদের ব্রেক ইভেন পয়েন্ট। সো ইউ হ্যাভ টু ক্যালকুলেট ব্রেক ইভেন পয়েন্ট ইন বোথ ইউনিট অ্যান্ড অ্যামাউন্ট। ইউনিট অ্যান্ড অ্যামাউন্ট দুইটাতেই আপনাকে বের করতে হবে। And again, they have some specification, that is, number 1 is use the equation method and use the shortcut method. So earlier map, on the earlier day, the map we have solved, we use the shortcut method. We also call it as a formula method. Okay. And today we learn the new method, that is the equation method. It is similar to that. The concept is that there is no profit, no loss. There is a profit will be 0. Okay. So how the profit is calculated? Profit is calculated means sales minus cost. Okay. Sales minus cost. Then we call it as a profit or loss. Okay. And another way you can write it, that is sales minus cost is sales minus variable cost minus fixed cost. That is the way we can write. But here you see already contribution margin is given. So you can directly write, we can skip sales minus variable. You can directly write contribution margin minus fixed cost. So you can write the equation formula like this. Let's write it. Requirement 2. That is, we're going to use the equation method. That is number 1. Again, some classification is 1. We're giving it A, and that is the equation method. So you can write like this. See, profit equal to, we know profit equal to sales minus cost. Okay, so that's we know, but we have already unit CM or unit contribution margin is given. So you can write unit contribution margin, unit CM multiply by Q. We don't know the Q value, so we'll gonna calculate the Q value. So keeping it as a Q, and minus fixed cost. Minus fixed cost. So that is the equation method formula for BEP point, break-even point. Break-even point বের করার ইকুয়েশন মেথডের ফর্মুলাটা হচ্ছে ঠিক এরকম, যেটা আমরা হয়তো আগে ম্যাথে এই ফর্মুলাটা আমাদের রিকোয়ারমেন্টে ছিল না, but right now it is one of our requirement. So if it is said, if they specify directly that you have to calculate in an equation method or a formula method, then you have to do it accordingly. But if nothing is given, no information, no specification is given, you can do any of the method. অর্থাৎ আপনাকে কোশ্চেনে যদি বলে দেয় যে এই মেথডে করতে হবে, সেক্ষেত্রে ওই মেথডে আপনাকে করতে হবে। আর না হয় আপনার যে এটা ইচ্ছা, অর্থাৎ যেটাতে আপনি কমফোর্ট ফিল করেন, কনভিনিয়েন্ট ফিল করেন, সেই মেথডে আপনি করতে পারবেন। সবাই ক্লিয়ার?
Sir, if
Yes.
the equation is
Equation, okay. This is the break-even point equation formula. Equation means which have a two side. There is a equal to sign and there is a two side. See, there is a profit on one side and another side. This one is another side. So this is we call equation method. Okay.
okay.
So here we know formula is zero, profit is zero. You know, if break-even point means there is no profit, so we'll keep profit equal to zero. And we know the unit CM or unit contribution margin is 15. Okay, so here from the question, so write 15 Q. We don't know the value of Q. We have to calculate the Q value. We have to calculate the Q value minus fixed expense. Here the fixed expense is given on your question. Fixed cost is 2,40,000. Okay, so we write here 2,40,000. Okay, then you can change the side. 15Q equal to 2,40,000. Or we can write Q equal to 2,40,000 divided by 15. $2,40,000 equal to 15. So according to the equation, according to the formula method, we write like this: fixed cost divided by contribution margin. So according to the equation method, you actually get the same thing. 2,40,000 is the fixed cost divided by contribution margin per unit. Ultimately, the equation is same, but you are writing it on an equation format. So how much is Q value?
15,000.
How much?
15,000.
15,000. So 15,000 is our Q value, or we can write our contribution, our break-even point is 15,000.
60,000.
কত?
16,000.
16.
16,000.
হ্যাঁ
16. Okay, so 16,000 is our break-even point. Is it clear? Everyone clear?
Yes, sir.
জি স্যার ক্লিয়ার
So in amount, one of our requirement was in amount. We have to show in amount also. It is unit basis. So in that case, you just multiply that value with the sale value. So break-even amount equal to 16,000 multiplied by what is the sale value? Sale value is the 60, so multiplied by 60. Then you will get the break-even amount. So how much is the break-even amount? $16,000 into 16 কত হয়? 60 is the sale value. কত হয় এখানে?
স্যার 9,60,000 টাকা
9,60,000. So that's our equation method. Hopefully it is clear, right? Now our second requirement is use shortcut method to calculate the break-even amount and in break-even unit. Okay, shortcut method. So let's write it number B, shortcut method. Shortcut, or we also call it as a formula method. Formula formula method. So the formula method, break-even point equal to BP point equal to fixed cost divided by contribution margin. Fixed cost divided by contribution. Fixed cost divided by contribution margin. Here, that this formula we already discussed in the last map. Contribution margin per unit. If it is unit, if you are going to calculate unit basis, then you divide it by contribution margin per unit. And if you want the amount, then you divide it by contribution margin ratio. So let's write it unit. Okay. So here, fixed cost you already know, that is 2,40,000. Now 2,40,000 divided by contribution margin. So from our question, we have seen that our contribution margin is 15. So we divide it by 15. So how much will be the contribution margin? I think it is same, right? 16,000. 16,000 now? Hello everyone, can you hear me?
Ji, sir.
Ji, sir.
So break-even unit is clear, right?
Yes, sir. 16,000.
Now in amount, we have to show it in amount as we have learned another formula. So we'll apply here. So that is fixed cost divided by contribution margin ratio. Break-even point in unit, and this is in amount. So 2,40,000 divided by contribution margin ratio. Ratio we already calculated. The ratio is 25%. So 25%. 2,40,000 divided by 25% will be how much?
9,60,000.
9,60,000. Okay, so that's it. That's the requirement number 2. Hopefully this requirement is clear to all of you. Do you have any question regarding this two requirement? সবাই কি বুঝতে পেরেছেন? একটু রেসপন্স করতে হবে। সবাই কি বুঝতে পেরেছেন? একটু কাইন্ডলি রেসপন্স প্লিজ।
Yes, sir.
Excuse me, sir.
Yes.
Sir, when I use equation method, then I calculate only profit and break-even point amount. What about in unit?
And this is the unit. Okay, Q 16,000. This is in unit.
Okay.
And just we multiply it by cell value, we got the amount. Okay. So you can write here. This is the formula for break-even unit. Okay. This formula is break-even unit.
Okay, sir.
And this is we just multiply it by cell value, then we get the 9,60,000. So I say there are basically two types of formula. One is the equation and another one is the formula. So if your question directly specify that do it for the equation method, do it for the formula method, then you will do it according to that method. Otherwise, if it is mentioned, if it is not mentioned, in that case you can follow any of the method. Like you can follow formula method. I think it's clear to you, and you have done last day math yeah, follow this method. So you can follow this method. If nothing is mentioned, then you can follow the formula method. Clear?
Yes, sir.
Now go to the requirement number 3. Next requirement. Okay. So assuming that sales increase by 4 lakh next year. Okay, 4 lakh taka increase next year. If cost behavior pattern remain unchanged, by how much will the company's net operating income increase? Use the CM ratio to compute your answer. So here you see we have assuming that sales increase by 4 lakh next year. So before increasing these sales, like if we go back to the main question, if we refer to this original data, you see here your fixed cost is already consumed. Fixed cost is already deducted. So there is no more fixed cost. If sales increase, then there is no more fixed cost. If sales increase, then there will be variable expense, but there will be no more fixed cost. Okay, so as fixed cost is already consumed, so you don't need to deduct any fixed cost. If sales increase, then we will just consider the variable expense. We just consider the variable expense. If variable expense is deducted, then that will be our net income. That will increase our net income. So আমাদের এখানে কি বলছে যে assuming that sales increase 4 লাখ, যে আমাদের এখানে এই ডাটার সাথে যদি 4 লক্ষ টাকা সেলস ইনক্রিজ করে, সেলস বেড়ে যায় এবং কস্ট বিহেভিয়ার প্যাটার্ন রিমেইন আনচেঞ্জড, অর্থাৎ আমাদের ফিক্সড কস্ট ভেরিয়েবল কস্ট কোনো কিছুই চেঞ্জ হচ্ছে না, ফিক্সড কস্ট যেটা আছে সেটা অলরেডি দুটেই হচ্ছে। ফিক্সড কস্ট যেহেতু আমরা অলরেডি ডিডাক্ট করে ফেলছি, মাইনাস করে ফেলছি, তো আমার এখন সেলস ইনক্রিজ হইলেও এই ফিক্সড কস্টের কিন্তু আর কোনো চেঞ্জ হবে না। এই ফিক্সড কস্ট কিন্তু আর ডিডাক্ট করতে হবে না, বিকজ ইউ অলরেডি ডিডাক্টেড, আমরা ডিডাক্ট করে ফেলছি। তো যখন আমরা নতুন সেলস ইনক্রিজ করবে সেক্ষেত্রে আমরা জাস্ট আমাদের ভেরিয়েবল এক্সপেন্সটা মাইনাস করব, জাস্ট আমরা কন্ট্রিবিউশন মার্জিন রেশিও দিয়ে we'll just multiply the sales increase, then we'll get the how much it will increase the net operating income. বুঝতে পেরেছেন কি বলেছি এখানে?
স্যার আবার একটু বলবেন স্যার, বুঝতে পারিনি।
যেটা হচ্ছে আমি প্রথমে একটু বলি, ভেরিয়েবল এক্সপেন্স আর ফিক্সড কস্ট এই দুইটা আগে একটু ভালো করে বুঝেন। ভেরিয়েবল এক্সপেন্স that is related with particular product. If our production increases, then our variable expense also increases. But on the other hand, fixed cost, which is fixed, is not related with the sales, it is not related with the production, it is always fixed. Like for example, 2,40,000 is our factory rent. So whatever unit we produced or whatever unit we sold, still we need to pay the 2,40,000. Still we need to pay the 2,40,000. Is it clear? বুঝতে পেরেছেন আপনি কি বলছি?
জি স্যার।
মানে ধরেন হচ্ছে ফিক্সড কস্ট হচ্ছে 2,40,000, জাস্ট থিংক দ্যাট 2,40,000 হচ্ছে ফ্যাক্টরি রেন্ট। আপনি এই ফ্যাক্টরিতে যত ইউনিট উৎপাদন করেন, লাইক এখানে 20,000 ইউনিট উৎপাদন করছেন, তখনও আপনার 2,40,000 খরচ হবে ফ্যাক্টরি রেন্ট বাবদ। আবার যদি সেখানে 25,000 ইউনিট উৎপাদন করেন অথবা 25,000 ইউনিটও আপনি সেল করেন, still your fixed cost will be same. Clear?
Yes sir.
Now you are in a position. Yes.
Not clear.
Okay. So I say fixed cost is a cost which is not related with the production or it is not related with the sales. How much unit you sold or how much unit you produced, still our fixed cost remains same. Like for example, in a factory, you have to pay factory rent. Every month you need to pay factory rent. factory rent is a fixed expense, is a fixed cost. Like you produce 20,000 units, still your factory cost will be 2,40,000. If you produce 25,000 units, still your factory cost will be 2,40,000. So factory cost will remain unchanged. Always it will be same. But variable expense, it is related with the production. Like for example, if our per unit production cost is 20 taka, if we produce 20,000 units, then 20,000 into 20, that will be variable expense. If we produce 25,000 units, then our variable expense will all increase with the level of production, like 20 into 25,000. So hopefully it is clear, fixed cost and variable cost. Are you clear?
Yes, sir.
So you're in a position where you have a net operating income of 60,000, like you sold 20,000 units and your sale value is 12 lakh and your variable expense is 9 lakh and your contribution margin is 3 lakh, fixed cost is 2,40,000. So your fixed cost is already consumed. Fixed cost is already deducted. So after deduction, you got that net operating income is 60,000. Right now they say there is a sales increase of 4 lakh. So there is a after that point, after the 60,000 point, there is a sales increase of 4 lakh. Another 4 lakh taka sales have been happening. So in that case, 4 lakh taka sales, there will be no fixed cost. Like fixed cost is already deducted, you know. I already said it is not related with the production. It is not related with the sales. It is always remain unchanged. It is always remain same. So 4 lakh taka increase, with that increase, there will be no fixed cost. We don't need to deduct any fixed cost. We have to deduct only the variable expense. So you can directly multiply the CM ratio or contribution margin ratio, then we can easily get that, and that will be our operating income. That will be our net operating income because there is no other fixed cost. You only deduct the variable expense. If you deduct the variable expense, then whatever we'll get, that will be added with our net operating income. Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
সবাই কি বুঝতে পেরেছেন কি বলছি এখানে? আমি কি আবার বলবো? সবাই একটু রেসপন্স করেন। Is it clear or not clear?
স্যার বুঝতে পেরেছি।
That's clear.
Okay. So that means if sales increase, then we directly just multiply with the CM ratio, and whatever you'll get, we'll call it as it will increase the net operating income. Okay. So let's write the requirement number 3. Increase in sales directly right. Increase in sales equal to 4 lakh, and directly will multiply it by contribution margin ratio. Four lakh into contribution margin, and you know contribution margin ratio is 25%. So directly 25%. Then we'll get the change in net operating income. কারণ এখানে fixed cost আর মাইনাস করার ব্যাপার নাই, খালি জাস্ট কন্ট্রিবিউশন মার্জিন অর্থাৎ ভেরিয়েবল এক্সপেন্সটা মাইনাস করার পর যেটা থাকবে সেটি আমাদের নেট অপারেটিং ইনকামের সাথে অ্যাড হয়ে যাবে। সো চেঞ্জ ইন নেট অপারেটিং ইনকাম। এখানে বলবেন এক্সপেক্টেড ইনক্রিজ expected increase in net operating income. Expected increase in net operating income will be how much?
1 lakh.
Into 25%.
Sir, 1 lakh.
Right.
1 lakh.
1 lakh will be our answer. Okay, are you clear? Everyone clear?
Ji sir, clear.
Yes, sir.
Now, requirement number 3 is done. Now I'll go to the number 4. Refer to the original data. Assume that the next year company management wants the company to earn a profit at least 90,000 taka. How many units will have to be sold to meet this target profit? So this is a target profit map. Target profit. So you know the formula. Target profit equal to fixed cost plus target profit divided by contribution margin per unit. Then you will get now how much unit you need to sold to meet the target profit. Okay. So let's try requirement number 4. This is directly we have done on the last math. Requirement number 4. আগের ম্যাথে আমরা কিন্তু এই রিকোয়ারমেন্টটা আমরা করেছি। তো আমরা জানি যে টার্গেট প্রফিট যদি থাকে তাহলে আমরা কি করব? জাস্ট ফিক্সড আমরা জানি যে ব্রেক ইভেন পয়েন্ট হচ্ছে ফিক্সড কস্ট ডিভাইডেড বাই কন্ট্রিবিউশন মার্জিন পার ইউনিট। তো এই পর্যায়ে এসে ফিক্সড কস্টকে কন্ট্রিবিউশন মার্জিন দিয়ে ভাগ করলে আমাদের কোনো প্রফিটও হয় না, কোনো লসও হয়। আমরা যদি এক্সপেক্টেড প্রফিট আর্ন করতে চাই তাহলে আমরা কি করব? ফিক্সড কস্টের সাথে উইল অ্যাড দ্য টার্গেট ইনকাম, টার্গেট প্রফিট আমরা অ্যাড করে দেব। তাহলে আমরা টার্গেট প্রফিট ইন ইউনিট আমরা পেয়ে যাব। ওকে, সো লেটস রাইট দ্য ফর্মুলা। টার্গেট unit to be sold for target profit. In target profit পাওয়ার জন্য আমাদের কতটুকু ইউনিট সেল করতে হবে? So the formula is fixed cost plus target profit divided by contribution margin per unit. So this is our formula. Okay, are you clear?
Fixed cost plus target profit divided by contribution margin ratio or per unit.
If they say unit, then in that case you will divide it by contribution margin per unit. But if your requirement say how money amount to be sold, what will be the amount to be sold for gaining the target profit? In that case, you will divide it by contribution margin ratio. If this amount, if your requirement is amount, then in that case you will divide it by contribution margin ratio. But if your requirement is unit, then in that case you will divide it by contribution margin per unit.
Okay.
So your question said what? See, how many unit? So your requirement is unit. Is it clear, Safi?
Yes, sir.
So that's why we'll divide it by contribution margin per unit. So right now you see we have a fixed cost here in this math. It is 2,40,000. And what is our target profit in this question? It's 90,000, right? It is 90,000. So you will add 90,000. 90,000. And you will divide it by contribution margin per unit. Contribution margin per unit is also given on your question. That is 15. Okay, say 15. So divide it by 15. So how much it is?
22,000.
22,000. So if you sold 22,000 units, then you can make a 90,000 taka profit. Is it clear?
স্যার ইউনিটেডটা হচ্ছে ক্লিয়ার হয়েছে। যদি স্যার অ্যামাউন্টে চায় তাহলে কি বলেছিলেন স্যার, এটা একটু মানে ফরগেট
আচ্ছা,
করে ফেলছি।
অ্যামাউন্টের ক্ষেত্রে যে কোনো ব্রেক ইভেন পয়েন্ট বলেন বা টার্গেট প্রফিট বলেন, হোয়াটএভার, যদি অ্যামাউন্ট চায় তাহলে কন্ট্রিবিউশন মার্জিন পার ইউনিট দিয়ে এখানে ভাগ করছেন না, এটার বদলে হয়ে যাবে কন্ট্রিবিউশন মার্জিন রেশিও।
ও আচ্ছা, ঠিক আছে, থ্যাংক ইউ।
অ্যামাউন্টের ক্ষেত্রে রেশিও দিয়ে ভাগ করবে, আর ইউনিটের ক্ষেত্রে ইউনিট দিয়ে ভাগ করবে। দ্যাটস ইট। সো আমরা কি এটা ইউনিট অ্যামাউন্টেও দেখাই দিব? আচ্ছা, যদি আমাদের কোশ্চেনের রিকোয়ারমেন্টে নাই, তাও আপনাদের বোঝার সুবিধার্থে আমি এটাকে অ্যামাউন্টেও দেখাই দিই। এখানে দেখেন অ্যামাউন্ট টু বি সোল্ড। Amount to be sold for target profit. So in that case, it will be contribution margin ratio. Contribution margin ratio. And we already know our contribution margin ratio is 25%. So what will be the amount? 240 plus 90 divided by 25%. কত হচ্ছে? How much is the amount? 13,20,000 is our answer.
20,000.
ও আচ্ছা আচ্ছা, জি জি।
Clear? So that's the requirement number 4. Clear?
Yes.
So next requirement is refer to the original data, compute the company's margin of safety. So you know the margin of safety formula is sales value minus the break-even amount. Okay, sales value minus the break-even amount, then whatever we'll get, we call it as a margin of safety. So let's write it, requirement number 5. Requirement 5. Margin of safety equal to sales minus break-even amount. Okay, margin of safety equal to sales minus break-even amount. So here in this question, you see our sales value is 12 lakh. So right here, 12 lakh. 12 lakh minus break-even amount, we already calculated. Break-even amount is how much? Break-even amount is 9,60,000. So we'll minus 9,60,000. Then whatever we will get, we call it as a margin of safety. We call it as a margin of safety. যেটা থাকবে সেটাকে আমরা বলবো হচ্ছে margin of safety. তাহলে কত থাকে? How much it is?
2,40,000.
2,40,000. 2,40,000 is our margin of safety. Okay, and is it margin of safety? We need to maybe in some question, maybe they will ask you what is the margin of safety percentage. Okay, in that case, margin of safety percentage equal to margin of safety divided by sales. Okay, আমরা এটাও করাই দিচ্ছি, কিছু ম্যাথের রিকোয়ারমেন্ট হয়তো এরকম থাকতে পারে। মার্জিন অফ সেফটি পার্সেন্টেজ, মার্জিন অফ সেফটি পার্সেন্টেজ ইকুয়াল টু margin of safety divided by sales. Okay, so here you will get here your margin of safety is 2,40,000 and sales is 12 lakh. So how much you get? 2,40,000 and 12. So here in this math, our margin of safety 2,40,000 and fixed expense 2,40,000 is the same amount, but it is not necessarily that fixed cost amount and margin of safety will be equal. It is not like that. By ironically or by accidentally, it remains same. একই amount চলে আসছে, but এটা কিন্তু same amount. So what is the percentage here? Margin of safety percentage?
20%.
20%. Okay, so that's the requirement number 5. Now we'll go to the requirement number 6.
Excuse me, sir.
Yes.
Sir, last month, margin of safety is sales minus break-even point in unit. This is an amount.
Yes. Sales minus break-even amount. Yes.
Yes.
Sales minus break-even amount equal to margin of safety.
Last month we calculate break-even in unit, but this month we calculate in amount.
Margin of safety amount. We are calculating here the amount. Okay. If they say margin of safety unit, in that case, what is the sales unit? Sales unit minus the break-even unit. Okay. So you have to see what is the requirement. According to that requirement, you'll deduct unit or you will deduct the amount. Clear? Here is our requirement is margin of safety amount. That's why we deducted from sales amount to break-even amount. But if they say margin of safety in unit, okay, margin of safety, we can write again we are writing the another formula. Margin of safety in unit equal to sales unit minus break-even unit. Okay. So here, you know, our sales value is 20,000. 20,000 is our sales unit. 20,000 minus break-even unit is how much? 16,000. So 16,000 and it will be 4,000. Again, margin of safety percentage, if you calculate on unit, you will get the same 4,000 divided by 20,000 or 2,40,000 divided by 12 lakh. You'll get the 20%. Clear, Safi?
Which one can I calculate the requirement will be given?
Yes. Requirement, according to the requirement, you will calculate. If requirement didn't specify that, you can calculate amount, either you can calculate unit. Okay.
Okay, sir. So this requirement 5.
Yes, this is the requirement 5.
For amount.
Yes, it is for amount. Okay. If nothing is said, you will write it in amount. Okay, margin of safety in amount. Clear? Number 5. Safi, are you clear?
Sir, requirement 5, where is in amount?
Okay, I say if nothing is specified, then you will calculate in amount. Okay.
Okay.
If nothing is specified, then you will calculate in amount. That's it.
Okay.
Then number 6, refer to the original data. Suppose company want to bring a new policy which will increase variable cost at 5,000 per unit, but sales unit will be increased by 5,000 unit as quality of product will be increased. Should this change be implemented? So we'll check whether our net operating income is increased or not. If it is increased, then we'll implement. Otherwise, we will not implement. Okay, so আমরা এখন কি করব? With that new change, the change is what? Variable cost will increase 5 taka. So variable cost was 45 taka. So variable cost will be right now 50 taka. And then again say, and sales unit will be increased by 5,000. So the new sales unit will be 25,000. So 25,000 into 60, you'll get the sales value. Then variable expense will be 25,000 into 50. Then we'll get the contribution margin. And fixed cost remain unchanged. Fixed cost will be same. You will deduct 2,40,000. Then after that, you will see net operating income, whether it is more than 60,000 or whether it is less than 60,000. If it is more than 60,000, then we'll implement that policy. Otherwise, we will not implement that policy. Clear? আচ্ছা, so আমরা দেখি আমরা রিকোয়ারমেন্ট 6টা করে ফেলি। মানে এখানে বলছে যে কিছু চেঞ্জের ফলে মানে কিছুটা চেঞ্জ আসছে আমাদের, তো এই চেঞ্জটা আসলে ইমপ্লিমেন্ট করা উচিত কিনা। তা আমরা কখন ইমপ্লিমেন্ট করব? যদি আমরা দেখি যে আমাদের নেট প্রফিট বা নেট অপারেটিং ইনকামটা ইনক্রিজ করেছে, নেট অপারেটিং ইনকামটা বেড়ে যাচ্ছে, সেই ক্ষেত্রে আমরা এটাকে ইমপ্লিমেন্ট করব, আদারওয়াইজ আমরা এটাকে ইমপ্লিমেন্ট করব না। Okay, so say sales value will be increased 5,000 unit. So the new sales value will be 25,000 multiplied by sales unit is 60. So 25,000 into 60 is how much? See, according to the question, variable cost will be increased by 5 taka and sales will be increased by 5,000. 15 lakh. Okay. 15 lakh is our sales value. Now we'll deduct the less variable expense. Less variable cost. আচ্ছা, variable cost এখানে কত? 5 টাকা increase. It will increase by 5 টাকা. So earlier it was 45. Earlier it was 45. So the new variable expense will be 45 plus 5. So that means it will be 50. 50 multiplied by, okay, right now, first of all, write the unit, 25,000 unit into 50. So it will be how much? 25,000 into 50.
Sir, 12 lakh 50,000 taka.
12 lakh 50,000. So after deducting, what will be the contribution margin? Contribution margin
2,50,000.
Contribution margin will be 2,50,000, right? 2,50,000. Now we'll deduct the fixed expense less fixed cost. Fixed cost is 2,40,000. So 2,40,000 remain unchanged. So after deducting 2,40,000, what will be the net operating income? Net operating income. Net operating income will be 10,000, right? Net operating income 10,000. Now see the difference. Original data, the previous policy, we have a net operating income of 60,000, but in the new policy, we have a net operating income of 10,000. So let me tell, will you implement this policy?
No, sir.
No. Yes. All right. So I'll write a comment here as net operating income decreases. Net operating income decreases to new policy. So we will not implement the policy. We will not implement the policy. Okay, so that's our requirement number 6. Hopefully it is clear. Shabbai clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay, now do the requirement number 7, and that's our last requirement for today. Requirement number 7. Let's read the question. Okay, refer to original data. Suppose company want to bring a new policy which will increase fixed cost taka 40,000. Fixed cost will increase. They are actually talking about another new policy and refer to the original data. Refer to the original data means this is our original data. Now with that original data, they are bringing a new policy, and the new policy is it will increase the fixed cost by 40,000. So previously fixed cost was 2,40,000. So if 40,000 increase, then our new fixed cost will be 2,80,000. And with this 40,000, it will increase the sales by 1,000 units as quality of the product will be increased. So new sale value will be, previously it was 20,000. So the new sale value will be 21,000 and everything will remain unchanged. So variable cost remain unchanged. So let's do it. Let's do another income statement and we'll see whether net operating income is changed or not changed. Okay, if it is increased from the original data, then we'll implement the policy. Otherwise, we will not implement the policy. So let's do it. Okay, so here in this question, the new sale value will be 21,000 and sale value will remain unchanged. So 16 to 21,000 will be how much? 16 to 21,000.
12,60,000.
How much?
12,60,000.
12 lakh
60,000.
60,000.
70,000.
60,000, sir.
60,000. Okay. 12 lakh 60,000 and variable cost will be 45 into 21,000. 45. This is original data. You see, there is no change in variable cost. The variable cost will remain same 45 taka. So 45 into 21,000. That will be the new variable cost. New variable cost will be how much?
9,45,000.
9,45,000. So if we deduct 9,45,000 from 12,60,000, then what will be our new contribution margin? Twelve lakh 60.
3,15,000.
2 lakh
3,50,000.
3,50,000.
Sir,
Yes.
3,15,000.
15,000, sir.
15,000 over, sir.
3,15,000. Okay. 3,15,000 minus fixed cost. There will be change of fixed cost. They said fixed cost will be 40,000 increase. So new fixed cost will be 2,80,000. 2,80,000. So what will be the net operating income?
35,000.
35,000. So still you see the previous refer to the original data. Our net operating income was 60,000, but with the new policy, our net operating income become 35,000. It is still decreasing. So will you implement the policy?
No, sir.
Yes. The answer is no. So as net operating income decreases with new policies, so we will not implement the policy. Hopefully it is clear. So that way, actually, management accounting will help you in decision making. Clear?